Here's a highlight of the biggest stories we tracked for you over the course of this week. Now, on the local front, a recent data from the Federal Ministry of Power shows that power generation in Nigeria experienced a sharp decline from a peak of 4,224 megawatts to about 3,844 megawatts within the period of 24 hours at the start of this week. And now, the CBN has commenced the 100 for 100 policy on production and productivity with the unveiling of an operational framework to guide interested companies in participating in the initiative. Now, AFDB has also blacklisted at least 40 Nigerian firms and individuals for engaging in corrupt practices, fraud and collusive practices between 2017 and this year. Well, shifting focus now to the international front, we start off with the cryptocurrency market as Ether, the world's second largest cryptocurrency, hit an all-time high of about $4,643 as at midweek, catching up with Bitcoin's rally and riding on news of wider blockchain adoption. And Apple Incorporation has also cut back production of iPad and tablets to allocate more components to the iPhone 13. A sign that the global chip supply crunch is also hitting Apple harder than previously anticipated. In Japan, Japan Airlines Company Limited has also posted a first half loss before interest and tax of 151.8 billion yen, less than a year ago, as it cut costs during the COVID-19 pandemic and forecast it would also report an annual loss for the year 2021. Well, it's now time to bring you reports prepared by our correspondents. In this first report now, truck operators have accused the Nigerian Ports Authority of deploying selective implementation of the electronic truck call-up system. They allege that officials of the port agency have turned the otherwise laudable ETO system into an oppressive instrument in the ports. TVC News correspondent Ifeanyi tells us more.
The introduction of the electronic truck call-up system was greeted with so much enthusiasm by port users, especially truck operators who anticipated an end to the perennial gridlock that has seen trucks lining up the port access roads for weeks. Months after the commencement of the truck call-up initiative, complaints of selective implementation and manipulation by security operatives persist in the port.
Since the implementation of the ETO, the environment has been cool and calm. But what do we have in return? MPAC came around with their funny policy to ensure to be selective with whatever they are doing with the ETO. So MPA decide on who moves into the port through the ETO. Individually, when we started individually, you can book from your bedroom and have, when it is your turn for your trucks to move, you know it is your turn. But right now, it has gone other way around. If you don't have the contact of the inner caucus of the ETO and the MPA system, you can't have access.
What you have here is a MPA selectively selecting those that they will implement those policies on. Because there are some companies, they call them branded in quotes. They are branded, they allow them to park on this corridor. And when you park here as an ordinary individual, they will tow your truck. If you come here at night, what happens here, it's terrible. From Orile on top bridge down to this Niger place, you're going to be spending around 70 to 80,000. The money is being collected by the enforcement.
For many of the truck drivers, the fatalities in the port corridor have become rampant, and the continued loud silence from the Ports Authority may trigger avoidable crisis in the port.
They disturb us. If we want to park, they're not allowed to park. We have the papers, everything that they say we should do. So for us to enter port is another problem. So if they park, they will come with police. They will hang our motor with a vehicle. They will say they will go and bail it, something like that. So if you beg along the road, they will collect bribery of like 100,000 sometimes.
This particular truck was towed on his way to the port, getting along to Inewi building. I think the motorboy came around, tried to hang on the truck. We had information that if the leg flap, it went down. We had information also that it was pushed. The motorboy died there. The driver partner died. We want justice.
A top official of the Nigerian Ports Authority attributes most of the conflicts to truck drivers' reluctance to comply to guidelines, while truck drivers on their part insist that compliance has remained difficult because officials are compromised.
And now, the month of October 2005 to 2006 evokes sad memories of plane crashes in Nigeria. Now, the mishaps highlight issues of aviation safety in the country. Lillian Ezimak takes a look at how accidents impacted the aviation industry in Nigeria, taking us through a flashback.
It was a Boeing 737 like this one, filled with passengers that set out on commercial operations that were not concluded. The aircraft belonged to two of Nigeria's finest airlines, Bellevue, an aviation development company. The plane crashes through Nigeria into mourning about 16 years ago. There were Bellevue Airlines Flight 210 and Aviation Development Company Airlines Flight 053. The Bellevue aircraft crashed on the 22nd of October 2005 at Lesa Village, Ogun State, just after takeoff. Killed all 117 people on board. The cause of the crash was never determined. This former aviation correspondent and now spokesman Accident Investigation Bureau said Nigeria invited America's Federal Bureau of Investigation to assist in probing the mishap.
They took samples from the accident scene and they took it to America, where they subjected it to test in their own laboratory and came up with the conclusion that there was no low-level explosion. The two flight recorders for that aircraft were missing. And so that made the investigation very difficult.
That of the ADC aircraft crashed on the 29th of October 2006, shortly after takeoff too, from Abuja Airport. The plane broke up and caught fire in a cornfield. The flight conveyed 100 passengers and 5 crew. 96 people were killed and 9 survived. The report blamed wind shear and pilot error.
Wind's supposed to go in what direction, but when you have a wind shear, they go across each other, and if an aircraft ran into it, there is no salvation, because you'll be throwing it here and there and it's going to come down ultimately. Now, because of that accident, the investigation and report came up, and recommendation is that they should have Doppler radar, and it costs money, they have to acquire it. So when you have a Doppler radar at the airport, it helps you to know if there is a wind shear. What will be the step? That pilot that is coming will be advised to go back, because the only solution to survive a wind shear is not to go into it.
For the journalists who covered the crashes, it all looked like scenes from horror movies.
It was a gory scene. It was a gory scene in the sense that the aircraft, the Boeing 737-200, nosedive and created a crater more than 10 feet deep. And what we saw then was body parts of those involved in the accident. It was a gory tale because before you move 5 meters, you see body parts on the floor. So we even had to raise our legs to ensure that we don't step on body parts.
Nigeria has recorded about 50 air mishaps. The crashes are randomly picked, beginning with the crash of British Overseas Airways Corporation, Argonauts in Kano, 1956. 29 of the 38 people were killed and 4 injured. On 20th November 1969, Nigeria Airways BAC DC-10 crashed on landing, killing 87 people on board. On 28th November 1983, Nigeria Airways Fokker 28-1000 crashed near Enugu, killing 53 people on board. In 2013, an Associated Airlines aircraft conveying the corpse of the former governor of Ondo State and 20 people crashed after takeoff from Lagos Airport. 5 years running, Nigeria has enjoyed 0 fatality in commercial airline operations.
Many thanks for still staying with us. Let's now deal with the crux of today's discourse. The emergence of 3D printing technology has the potential to transform businesses, geographical challenges, and entire supply chains with less time to design and manufacture products with minimum need for warehouses for inventory, with spare parts printed on demand evidently a great leap in the terms of industrialization transformation, which is imminent. Now, stakeholders in Nigeria also advocate an increased adoption of 3D printing in the country to reduce the dependence on importation. Now, they note that the technology can help the country to save well over $2 trillion expended on spare parts yearly by also developing capacity and also deploying 3D technology, skills and designs in the manufacturing sector over the next 10 years. Now, it is believed that we can also have about 30 trillion naira saved, create over 100,000 new jobs, and increase the country's gross domestic product by well over 30%. And now joining me to discuss this and much more, I have engineer Yomi Fowode, Information System and Management Consultant, and also the Managing Director of FIAM Technologies Limited. Thank you very much for joining us on the show today.
Thanks for the honor.
Now, 3D technologies move from plastics, especially in the production of prototypes, to new materials like metals, steel, bronze, and biomaterials to produce parts needed in industries and also several sectors. This definitely offers Nigeria the opportunity to leverage business opportunities in terms of local production. Let's now look at the frontier of 3D printing technology in Nigeria. Why do you think we have a slow adoption of this initiative?
It's not only in Nigeria, we look at the African continent as a whole. We tend to love coming from the back to issues that pertain to us. 3D technology did not just start recently. It's been there for over 20 years or thereabout. Our reception in this part of the world, I mean Nigeria generally, has to do with our policy on education, where we tend to keep the same thing for over a decade without coming back to see things changing in the world. We travel, most of us, especially the policymakers, and we send our children down to other parts of the world to learn, and they use these new technologies. Unfortunately, most of our children and our people, after complete their course, sit down there to work, and when they come, if and when they come back home, they don't see the tools that they have gone to learn through here in Nigeria. So they're always back to square one. So the problem had been there until we decide to change the way we plan our policies on education to such a way that it's not just cramming to pass, but being able to deposit it into the generations upcoming. The situation will still become the same and will still remain the same. I am lucky to have been part of a governing body representing the government in the UK. All these technologies we are talking about are already being used in secondary schools, which we are trying now to campaign that they should be used in schools, tertiary institutions, and research centers to impart that knowledge, to bridge the gap between generations.
Let's now bring in focus the conversation around smart manufacturing, which has to be encouraged, looking at data and computer-aided integration to drive the production process. What do you see in terms of the prospects we'll likely have from health solutions to agriculture solutions, automobile solutions, and much more, even in fashion as well?
For it to have any impact on the entirety of the population, we need to be sincere, truthful, and honest about our thinkings, about our thoughts, not just for monetary purposes, but for a vision then to be realized. The purpose is not just for our own generation. We are talking about generations unborn. Some people saw the machines. They were asking whether it was a microwave, it was a fridge, different names for it. They were strange to them. It shows our tendencies towards learning. All these things can be researched over Google, over internet. Well, our educational policy, just give us that impetus. Look, read, pass, start your job, and get on with the world. But the simple thing is that the world will not wait for us. So we have to work towards bridging that gap. And that will lie in the generation behind us now.
And now in the area of sales and installation of 3D printing technology, now the technology, for some, their perspective is that this is an expensive endeavor. Now, for those who are looking to go into this business, what are some of the necessary elements you think they need to get right, especially within the area of customized products?
Now, at the moment, 3D printing technology is going to every area of our living. So all professionals can link into it and make money out of it. The cost you mentioned has not changed from where they are manufactured. The cost aspect of it is based on the exchange rate in Nigeria and the the cost of funding in Nigeria. That's a bit very high. I will always tell people who want to go into it to do their research. Feasibility study first, which area they want to go into, how they want to use the machines, and do a business plan. Every entrepreneur must have that one as the basic and basis of their business. We have over 200 million Nigerians. And if you just lay it barely on 10% of 200 million, we're still having about 20 million. Now, if you base it on 1% of that, you're talking about just about 2 million again. So there is enough widespread for this new technology where you can use them.
And now, looking at the impact of 3D technology, especially within the sphere of emerging technologies, let's look at integration and teaching in tertiary institutions. From the field of research to value addition, how critical would you say it is to have a sound human resource base in this field?
It's not only in tertiary. Like I said, it's even needed to start from the younger age, where pictorial objects tend to tell us stories than the one we talk about without saying them. We showed some of this project to some parents while we were on exhibition, and they picked this straight away. That look, our children will benefit a lot from this. When you are talking about things that are not easily seen, or things that you tell them, look, do you know in this part of the world, this thing happened, that happened. Yes, they imagine it. But now you are trying to show it to them that it's not only we are telling the story, it's reality. You tell them this object is here, you print that object straight away to them, they see it. They know you are talking from the knowledge base that you are having. The research and, like I said, secondary schools, they need it. I was lucky to have attended a school like Comprehensive High School at HO, popularly called Compro then, where 6334 in education started. All these we were opportune to have knowledge of. We were shown this at early age, from 1, from 2, 3. We formed with our intent at that level to know where we want to be in life. And it helped us greatly. This was missing then. This is here and now. Research centers are supposed to research further into the world of technology. Tertiary institutions should be able to give their students projects, and they will print this project out straight away from the printer, and people will see it. It's not fables. It's what you have designed, what you have put down in paper. You are taken to your examiner, and you printed it out. The examiner has your paper and has the item right in front of you. What next does it need? We need to go away from the area of just copying and pass to doing greater research And that's where this will help tertiary and other parts of institutions. We've engaged the Ministry of Education all over, and we're still doing it. Everyone in the tertiary and the educational institution, we are trying to get to them to let them know the advantage this will brought into the mindset, into the planning, and to the setting up of our research centers. The output will be enormous, and it will help many industries at the end of the day.
Lastly now, let's look at the global future of 3D printing and why it is necessary for Nigeria to have a good footing as we speak today. Yes, the evolution is fast and it's also making so much of leaps and bounds, but we cannot afford to play catch-up, wouldn't you say?
Nigeria is the leader in Africa, whether we accept it or not. Take away politics out of it. We are the leader in Africa. So everything that happens here will affect African continent. So we did it. 2, like I said at the earlier part, I said, look, the world will not wait for us. Research continues to go in every aspect of life. And they want to make things much, much better than how it was before. Look at how technology is helping us, especially in the health issues. Look at how our manufacturing industries are coming up with different things. When you look at Chinese economy, I once saw them printing a common local clothing here, I think Kampala also. In China, I was amazed. They are using the technology that we do not want to do. We don't have any option. We need to move in now. We need to take the bull by the horn. We need to lead Africa out of this quagmire and let our children, they have more. I mean, when you see children talking about the internet, using the social media, you'll be amazed at their intelligence. This is the time for us to help those children. What do 3D have in future? Nobody can stop the movement because we are talking about over 7 billion people trying to use the technology and improving upon them. If you just go to Facebook and look at how many groups are coming up on 3D printing, you'll be amazed. And this happened within the last few months. I joined more than 20 in the last 2 days when they saw what we have done. Some invited me, some we went there, and we are seeing them. So it's not going to stop. It will evolve and it will continue to evolve.
Thank you very much for your time on the show today. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you, and thank you, Nigerians.
But just before we go now, here graphic details of the selected food price watch for the month of September as prepared by the National Bureau of Statistics. And on that note, that's it on this edition of Business Week. Many thanks for watching so far. Do enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'm David Alabi. Bye for now.